Alright, good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened to date throughout the annals of recorded history. Bringing you interesting and important things that happened, starting with April 1st, moving on up to 1064. The body of the first bishop of Tornari, Saint Eutharius of Tornari, was moved, that's a weird way to say it, translated, okay. 1340, Danish squire and national hero Niels Ebbesen killed German Prince Gerhard III of Holstein in his bedroom, ending the 1332 to 1340 interregnum on Denmark. Interregnum. Interregnum? What the heck is that word? You know, that is, you know what? I'm gonna look this up here. I've never heard this word before, so let's take a quick deviation. What the hell is this word? Archetypally, it was the period of time between the reign of one monarch and the next. Okay, so interim, I guess? I don't know. Moving on up to 1572, Watergusen captured Briel from the Spaniards during the 80 Years' War, gaining the first foothold on land for what would become the Dutch Republic. Alright. 1663, Gimmert in the Netherlands fined unwed mothers a penalty of 50 guilders. So, if you were non-married and you had a child, you had to pay. I don't agree with that, but, yeah. 1663, we got that one. 1693, Cotton Mather's 4-day-old son died, and witchcraft was blamed. I want to know who is Cotton Mather, and why does he matter this much to where we're talking about his child like this. 1724, Jonathan Swift published the Drapier's Letters, a series of 7 pamphlets against a privately minted copper coinage Swift saw as inferior and corrupt. Yeah, I have a thing or two to say about the Federal Reserve and the IRS myself. 1748, the ruins of Pompeii are rediscovered by Spaniard rogue Joaquin de Alquivel. Alright, here's a picture of it. You can see that there's like a crosswalk right here, so which it would make sense back in the day of horse and buggy and everything. Like you could just go right over that with the wheels going through the spaces and all that stuff and whatnot. Pompeii is very interesting. Like did you know that there's even like grooves in the street and they had traffic? They had this lane going this way, that lane going that way. So 1778, New Orleans businesswoman businessman. Oliver Pollock created the dollar symbol, the dollar sign. All right. 1792, Groning's feminist Etta Palm demanded women's right to divorce. Okay. 1803, French law rules the use of intention. What does that even mean? The use of intention? Let's take a surface level scratch of this article really right quick here. Hold on a second. Napoleonic Code. Okay. So the Napoleonic Code, officially the civil code of the French, is the French civil code established during the French consulate in 1804. Okay, well that's just after this. So what does this mean? Maybe this played into that. So if anybody can let us know in the comment section, that'd be great. Moving on up to 1826, Samuel Morey was issued the first U.S. patent for an internal combustion engine, which he called a gas or vapor engine. I presume that, just running on fumes. So, yeah. 1850, San Francisco County government was established. All right. Pretty cool. 1853, Cincinnati became the first U.S. city to employ full-time professional firefighters. That's interesting. 1854, Hard Times began serialization in Charles Dickens' magazine, Household Words. Speaking of words, why can't I words today? 1857, Herman Melville published the novel The Confidence Man, His Masquerade, on April Fool's Day in New York. That's rather fitting right there. 1863, first wartime conscription law in the U.S. came into effect. I guess that must have been for the Civil War, yeah. 1866, U.S. Congress rejected a presidential veto giving all equal rights in the U.S. So they negated the veto. They're like, no, screw your veto. We demand equal rights. And as I said yesterday, in the Constitution, all men are created equal. then we have that amendment. You know, is it, you know, that's just superfluous. You know, that's redundant. We already have it in the document. All men are created equal, and men, you know, is mankind. You know, as we call males, females, whatever. Like, we're all equal. So, 1872, the first edition of the Standard. And I don't know what that is. A newspaper for what? So, 1881, we have anti-Jewish riots in Jerusalem. That's a little weird right there. 1888, students from Rotterdam, Netherlands, established a cricket club called Rotterdamse Cricket and Football Club Sparta, which evolves into Sparta Rotterdam. All right. 1889, the first dishwashing machine was marketed in Chicago. Cool. So now, you know, like, we can wash our dishes without, you know, hand washing the dishes. I mean, cool stuff. 1891, London-Paris telephone connection opens. It's pretty big right there. So obviously going through the English Channel and such. While that was going on in 1891 as well, the Wrigley Company was founded in Chicago, Illinois. So we have two Chicago history things happening on this date. And I believe this is the Bubblegum Company. 1905, SOS first adopted as a Morse distress signal by German government. And I don't really know how to read Morse code other than that one. 1905 as well, British East African Protectorate becomes the colony of Kenya. Happy birthday, Kenya. 5 years later, in the year 1910, Dumitru Dan, Romania, completed a 62,137 mile or 100,000 meter walk. That is quite a hoof right there. 1918, United Kingdom, the Royal Air Force was created from the Royal Navy Air Service and the Royal Flying Corps. That's interesting. So they had their own Air Force, and it wasn't until after World War II when the USAF, you know, took flight, so to speak, pun intended, you know. But yeah, no, like, you know, during World War II, there was no USAF. It was the USAAF, United States Army Air Force. 1924, Adolf Hitler was sentenced to 5 years labor for his beer hall putsch, but General Ludendorff acquitted it. Very bad move right there. Moving on up, we also have 1924 as well. The Royal Canadian Air Force was formed. So even Canada had their Air Force before the U.S. did. You know? So that's yeah, the U.S. is always lagging behind, it seems like. 1925, first transmission of Danish state radio. Pretty cool. 1 year later, 1926, the Montreal Maroons' Clint Benedict became the first NHL goalie to record 3 straight playoff shutouts in a 3-0 win against the visiting Victoria Cougars in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Championship Series. 365 more days later, in 1927, the first automatic record changer introduced by his master's voice. So instead of, like, manually changing the records, you just load it up, and when that one's done, you know, kind of like how jukeboxes go. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. It's really crappy air today. So, 1929, Louis Marx introduced the yo-yo. Yo-yo-yo. 1930, Chicago Cubs catcher Leo Hartnett broke the altitude record for a catch by gloving a baseball dropped from the Goodyear blimp 800 feet over Los Angeles, California. That's one heck of a catch right there. And but why is the Chicagoan doing it in LA? That's kind of weird. I mean, I guess, like, he's coming here and you know, slapping Californians in the face, being like, ha, I'm doing a record I'm not one of your people. I don't know. 1931, Jackie Mitchell became the second female after Lizzie Arlington in 1898 in organized baseball when she signed with the Chattanooga Lookouts Baseball Club. Wow. 1898 to 1931, it took 33 years for it to happen again. That's not good, but hey, at least it happened. So, 1933, England cricket batsman Wally Hammond smashed 34 fours, 10 sixes in a test record, unbeaten 336 in the drawn second test against New Zealand in Auckland. And for anyone who thinks that they have a stroke, you know, as I always say about cricket, you know, if you read something verbatim, it's English, you know you read it correctly, but you still, like, you know, have problems, it's just cricket, don't worry. 1933 as well, though, Heinrich Himmler became police commander of Germany. And give me one more moment. I guess I should have drank some water before doing the show, but we got another 1933 here. Nazi Germany began persecution of Jews by boycotting Jewish businesses. Just like how local, societal normalities are doing, to certain people today. So, the Holocaust didn't just happen overnight. It took like 10 years. So, and, what's going on today, against, certain people is just, it's not good. 1934, Clyde Barrow killed 2 young highway patrolmen, H.D. Murphy and Edward Bryant Wheeler, at the intersection of Route 114 near Grapevine, Tejas. Bonnie Parker's role in the murders helps turn public perception against the gang for good. Because initially, people were all about them. They're doing, things like going in and getting rid of debt records and taxes that need to be paid. I don't know exactly what they did, but they did something that the public liked. But as soon as they started killing cops, not good. So, 1935, first radio tube made of metal announced in Schenectady, New York. I don't know what's going on today. I think I'm being poisoned. 1938, Nescafe introduced their flagship brand in Switzerland. Alright. 1 year later, 1939, U.S. recognized Francisco Franco's government in Spain at the end of the Spanish Civil War. Pope Pius XII congratulates Generalissimo Franco's victory in Spain. And that is very not good. Because, even though Spain was neutral during World War II, they aided the Germans, the Italians, the Axis, essentially. And what a lot of people don't realize is that the Luftwaffe, Germany's Air Force, actually got practice because they teamed up with Francisco Franco during the Spanish Civil War to learn how to fight, in the air and all that stuff. And that's why they were, so veteraned at the outbreak of World War II. They already had fought a war just prior to it. 1940, Filipino President Quezon officially authorized the printing and publication of the grammar and dictionary prepared by the Institute of the National Language. Okay, so that sounds really important, So, 1941, Nazis forbade Jewish access to cafes. Not good. 1941, U.S. Navy took over Treasure Island and San Francisco Bay, and I think they still control it. 1942, Mexico changed from 3 time zones to 2. Okay. 1945, during the Battle of Okinawa, U.S. ground forces invade Okinawa during World War II in the largest amphibious assault of the Pacific Theater. Yep. And while that was going on during World War II as well, the Ruhr pocket of German forces are encircled by the U.S. 9th and U.S. 1st Army, eventually leading to the capture of 317,000 German troops. That's a kick in the pants right there. 1946, 400,000 U.S. mine workers striked. For what? Better wages, better hours, benefits, dental plans, 401ks. Like what? Why they strike? 1947, here's something for you weeaboos out there. Shin Takarajima, New Treasure Island by Osamu Tezuka was published. First manga cartoon in the tankobon form. Alright. 1947 as well, the first Jewish colonists to invade Palestine disembarked at Port of Eilat. Yep. 1948, Big Bang Theory proposed in scientific journal Physical Review by U.S. cosmologists Ralph Alpher, Hans Bethe, and George Gamow. 1954, first Dutch motorway, Amsterdam to Utrecht, opened. Alright. And while that was going on, we have the first U.S. Army helicopter battalion formed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Yeah, well, not to brag, but like that really took off right there. So it ain't stationary, tell you what. And we're gonna hover here in 1954 a little bit longer when the U.S. Air Force Academy was established. I wonder if that's the one in Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs? No, but did you know, that chapel there, I think they've torn it down because of all this war on Christianity this country's been having lately. 1955, armed military action taken against bureaucratic strike in Amsterdam. Well, that's not good. As soon as you bring the military or the National Guard in or whatever, you start, oppressing the people. It's not good. 1957, world's biggest glass oven was used for what? And how big was it? That was 1957. It's right here. So that's all I got. So if anybody can let us know a little bit more in the comment section, that'd be great. Speaking of comments, do we have any comments yet? Does not look like it. Nope. All right. Moving on up to 1960, first weather satellite launched, the Tyros-1. All right. And in 1960 as well, the second French atom bomb explodes in the Sahara. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that France is a nuclear power. They have nuclear weapons. And they did do nuclear tests. And I haven't spoken about this in quite a while, but there's a video, every nuke test. This here is a time lapse of every nuclear explosion between 1945 and 1990 something. So it does not cover the millennium. It does not cover North Korea, what North Korea has done and all that stuff. But to give you a little perspective, let's see here. So it says here 2,053 total atomic explosions between all the different nations. Let's see, hold on a second. There we go. So we have the USS, USSR, France, Great Britain, China, India, and Pakistan. So in total, all of them 2,053, with the U.S. leading at 1,032 and Russia, or Soviets, at 715. Moving on up in 1960 as well, we have a census determined the resident population of the United States to be 179,245,000. That is a perfectly even number. A little odd there, or I guess not odd, depending on how you look at it. We also have the first Prime Minister of Burma, U Nu, was elected Premier of Burma for the third time. Alright, he must either be very popular or very corrupt. 1964, John Lennon was reunited with his father, Freddie, 17 years after being abandoned at age 5. Dang, why did he abandon him? Not really my business to know or anything, but I hope everything was smoothed over and they got to, have some good father-son bonding experiences and whatnot. 1965, SYNCOM-3, the first geosynchronous communication satellite, passed from civilian to military control. And that is very alarming right there. 1967, first British Ombudsman, Sir Edward Compton, began work. Who? What's an ombudsman? Let me look this up here really quick. Get rid of these. Let's see here. Ombudsman is a government employee who investigates and tries to resolve complaints, usually through recommendations or mediation. They are usually appointed by the government or by Parliament. Huh. Okay, so they're just a fire putter outer, essentially. 1967, United States Department of Transportation began operation. No, we do not need all these government bodies. Afuela. 1968, Chemo, now KOFY, TV, Channel 20 in San Francisco, California, IND, first broadcast. I wonder why they changed their name. Probably because, chemotherapy, maybe? When did chemotherapy become a thing, actually? Let me look this up here. When did chemotherapy become a thing? Let's see here. 1940s. So the era of cancer chemotherapy began in the 1940s with the first use of nitrogen mustards and folic acid antagonist drugs. That sounds very painful right there. Anyway, let's move on up here to 1969. That's a good year. Royal Canadian Mint formally formed as a Crown Corporation. I don't know what a Crown Corporation is. I guess a government entity? Crown Corporation? That makes sense, the government, controls the mints. At least that's what it's supposed to. In the U.S., the government does not control the mints. The Rothschilds do. 1970, the U.S. President Richard Nixon, I am not a crook, signed a bill limiting cigarette advertisements from January 1st, 1979. Yeah, he was an absolute crook. 1971, United Kingdom lifted all restrictions on gold ownership. Good. And we're going to be talking about Japan doing the same thing in a little bit. Actually, just a couple articles, as you can see. Meanwhile, in the U.S., the citizens are not really allowed to own gold, outside of like small paltry quantities and what we can't have gold coins and whatnot and stuff. I don't know. 1972, MLB players staged the first ever collective strike, with play resuming on January, February, March, on April 13th, 1972. So in 12 days, when the owners and players agreed to a $500,000 increase in pension fund payments. Yeah, that makes sense. And here we go, 1973, Japan allows its citizens to own gold. Okay, but to what capacity, actually, is a better question to ask. 1973, John Lennon and Yoko Ono form a new country with no laws or boundaries called Natopia. Its national anthem is Silence. Okay, well, these people were absolute crazies. 1974, in England, Local Government Act 1972 redrew the administrative map and created 6 new metropolitan and non-metropolitan counties. Newport and Monmouthshire transferred from England to Wales. 1976, Jovian-Plutonian gravitational effect was first reported by the astronomer Patrick Moore. And what is this gravitational effect, you may ask? I have no idea. So let's take a look at this really quick. Oh, it was a hoax phenomenon broadcast on BBC Radio 2 on April 1st. Oh, okay, because April Fools. Okay, so this is... hold on a second. April Fool's joke. Okay. 1976, Steve Wozniak, the Woz, and Steve Jobs founded Apple Computer in the garage of Jobs' parents' house in Cupertino, California, according to local or urban legend and such. A lot of things have been coming out as of late, of all these people who, like Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and, all these people who, Disney, who founded things in their garage. It's starting to get uncovered that they are directly linked to Rothschilds and Freemasonry and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm starting to have some second thoughts about the official stories like these. I think this is all a load of crap. So, anyway, 1978, last episode of the Bob Newhart Show sitcom The Chicago One aired on CBS TV. All right. 1978, New York Islanders right wing Mike Bossy became the first NHL rookie to score 50 goals in the season after scoring number 50 and 51 in the closing moments in a 3-2 win over Washington. There he is right there, Mike Bossy. 1979, Iran proclaimed an Islamic Republic following the fall of Shah. Not good. 1979 as well, Warner Cable launched Nickelodeon, a basic cable channel featuring programming focused on children and teenagers. And I'm going to do this really quick, actually. Google Translate. Because Nickelodeon, so to take from Latin. So Nickelodeon, Nickelodeon to English. Well, it has something to do with... hold on a second. Nickelodeon Latin translation. Because there's a whole thing behind this. Yeah, Nickelodeon is Latin for I don't care about God. So anyone, growing up watching that channel like I did and everything, and the whole Nickelodeon, that whole thing, they're programming children to disavow the Lord. Whatever Lord that you believe in, this doesn't specify the Christian God or whatever God you believe. It just says, I don't care about God. That's all it says. So, yeah, they call it television programming because it's programming you. 1981, Warner Daylight Saving Time is introduced in the USSR. Okay. 1982, U.S. formally transferred Canal Zone to Panama. So yeah, I don't know the exact semantics, but it's like the actual waters is owned by the U.S. still, that's going through the canal, and then the land around it is owned by Panama, or vice versa, something like that. So it's still a joint thing, so as far as I'm aware. 1983, anti-nuclear demonstrators linked arms in a 14-mile human chain in England. Yeah. So, 1984 as well, 8 men recorded the longest distance at 13 miles, rode in 24 hours. That's quite a long distance right there. 1986, World oil prices dip below $10 a barrel. Woo! That is some cheap gas right there. 1989, A. Bartlett Giamatti replaced Peter Ueberroth as 7th commissioner of Major League Baseball, dying suddenly of a heart attack 5 months later. That sounds like foul play right there. Sounds like a murder. 1990, Ha! Comedy Channel on cable TV began transmitting. Well, yeah, at least they got a good name for their channel. Well, we also have, it became illegal in Salem, Oregon to be within 2 feet of nude dancers. Okay. Well, what if you're at home and your wife is dancing for you and she's nude and you're within 2 feet? Are you breaking the law? Like, that is a legitimate actual question now that I think about it. 1991, Iran released British hostage Roger Cooper after 5 years. 5 years as a hostage. That's terrible. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled jurors cannot be barred from serving due to race. I can't believe we had to rule that. Absolutely ridiculous. You know, because like when it comes to law and rules and regulations, legislation, government, everything involving anything in those veins, that's just mandating what the public should already be holding itself accountable for. You know? So, anyway, 1991, Warsaw Pact officially dissolved. All right, goodbye, Soviet Union. You know, it's still wild to think, you know, that I was alive while the Soviet Union was around. You know, something that formed out of the First World War. So, 1992, the battleship USS Missouri, on which the Japanese surrender took place, was decommissioned. I wonder if it's still around. I've been on the Iowa. It's out in the port of L.A. You know, I've been on the Midway, which is an aircraft carrier down in San Diego. I don't know what... I think it's the... maybe a decommissioned Enterprise, but I was on an aircraft carrier out in New York back in 2003. So, as a tourist, not as somebody serving. So, 2003, I was still in high school. No way I could have served. We also have 1992, NHL players began first strike in 75-year history. A 10-day action earned large playoff bonus increase, more control over licensing of their likenesses, and changes to free agency system. That's a lot of change right there. The world's 7 wealthiest nations agreed to a $24 billion aid for former USSR. Why? We should let them suffer in the misery of their own discontent. You know, they were our enemies. Why are we helping them? Screw them. 1995, Blackburn Rovers striker Chris Sutton scored the fastest goal in English Premier League history when he netted after 12.94 seconds in a 2-1 win at Everton. All right. 1996, veteran U.S. MLB umpire John McSherry died of a heart attack while umpiring on opening day of the Cincinnati Reds Riverfront Stadium at the age of 51. Rest in peace. You know, he literally died doing what he loved. You know, and I could not wish a better end to anybody. You know, he was out there doing what he wanted to do, and that was it. You know, go out swinging, man. 1999, Detroit Pistons guard Joe Dumars became the 10th player in NBA history to play 1,000 games with the same team, and one of only 8 to play 1,000 games with his only team, scoring 18 points in a 107-75 rout of the Chicago Bulls. Yep. 1999, Nunavut was established as a Canadian territory carved out of the eastern part of the Northwest Territories. All right. Moving on up into the 2000s, the Netherlands in the year 2001 became the first country in the world to make homo marriage legal. You know, homosexual marriage, gay marriage, you know, whatever it is, same sex, whatever you want to call it. 2002, the Netherlands legalized euthanasia, becoming the first nation in the world to do so. You know, you would have thought that, like, you know, I don't know, Cambodia or China or something would legalize, you know, like, because you know, children are the future. You know, and the youth does need to be everywhere. Like, you know, we have the youth in Europe, youth in Asia, youth in North America, you know, so. 2004, Google introduced Gmail. The launch was met with skepticism on account of the launch date. Oh, yeah, because of April Fools. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's too bad it was not a joke. So, yeah. 2007, U.S. super swimmer Michael Phelps smashed his own world record in the 400-meter individual medley, 4 minutes, 6.22 seconds, to win his record 7th gold medal at the World Championships in Melbourne, Australia. Oh, crikey, mate. 2009, Croatia and Albania joined NATO. Not good. NATO should have dissolved when the USSR dissolved. Like, it should not be a thing anymore. At all. Let alone growing. So, 2011, after protests against the burning of the Quran turned violent, a mob attacked a United States compound in Marizi-e-Sharif, Afghanistan, and killed 13 people, including 8 foreign workers. Not good. 2013, and of course, you know, this comes out of Japan, the world's first smelling TV screen is unveiled in Japan. Those Japanese are just always on the forefront of everything technology. Like, it is bananas. Like, they have invented smell-o-vision, man. Like, that is absolutely crazy. 2017, Chinese leaders announced plans to build city in Zhejiang new area, 3 times the size of New York, and it's probably just a complete ghost town because we all know that all that real estate market is completely gone to shit. 2019, China announced new laws against fentanyl-related substances to come into effect May 1st. Yeah, sure. As you know, here we are, you know, in 2025, and China is just bombarding the entire world with fentanyl. So, yeah. Actually, maybe that's what the law is. They're getting it out of their country and giving it to everybody else. You know? Just like the Kung Flu. Everybody was Kung Flu fighting! No. 2019, a major archaeological site announced discovery of a reef in the middle of Lake Titicaca in the Andes, dated 8th and 10th centuries AD from Tiwanaku State. Alright. 2019 as well, methane, a gas usually made by living things, was detected on Mars in 2013 by European Space Agency's Mars Express Orbiter, reported in Nature Geoscience. Why did it take 6 years to tell us? You discovered it in 2013, and then you didn't tell us until 2019? What the hell? Like, that's a long time to cover up a bunch of stuff. So, what else do we got here in 2019? Saudi Arabian oil company, Saudi Aramco, was revealed to be the world's most profitable company, with its earnings released $111.1 billion in the last year. Billion with a B. So that's kind of add to the bone. 2019, U.S. online sales overtook retail sales for the first time, with 11.813% online, compared with 11.807 for general merchandise stores. So barely tipped the scale right there. But you know, it happened. It's the singularity, you know, or what, is it called the singularity, or is it called what is it called when AI, you know, take over humanity? Like is it the singularity? You know, the tipping of the scales. 2024, airstrike by Israel on Iranian embassy in Damascus, Syria, killed 7 officials, including 3 senior generals. The most serious attack on Iranian targets since 2020. Well, why is Israel bombing an embassy, and why are they getting away with it? Oh, that's right, because they're Israel, and they can do whatever they want because they're Israel. Okay. 2024, Florida's population reached $23 million, making it the 3rd most populous state in the U.S. All right. Well, until Florida fully sinks into the ocean, as California should as well, as New York should, the entire Pacific Northwest should as well. So, yeah. Then, last but not least, 2024, 7 aid workers from the World Central Kitchen were killed in an Israeli attack on Deir al-Balah, Gaza, prompting condemnation and an apology from Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Once again, why are they allowed to just get away with war crimes? So, but that shall conclude the show for the day. For all of you and all of us, I am A.O. Xander. Please check the underbar of the description below for anything that you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. A lot of stuff happens every day in history, and we can only bring you a portion of it. Like, please check our sources. There's so much stuff. It is truly staggering. But yeah, Until you catch us next time, whenever that is, wherever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles! Now, if you don't mind, I have got to go to get some scripting done here. So, alright, ooh, I got some script right here. You know, so, oh, rare metals. And, oh, wait a minute, what are these? What are these here? Components?